Hello, welcome to another episode of the Radiant Achiever Show. Today, I am excited to bring a friend, a colleague, and an all-around radiant woman, Ana Nieto. Before I bring her on, I want to share with you a bit about her background. So Ana is a trained nurse, a personal trainer, a nutrition specialist, health and wellness international certified health coach, and the creator of the Mindful Online Workouts, as well as the Mindful Online Gym. She has worked in the health and wellness field for more than 20 years, and starting in New York, she co-founded a personal training studio in Manhattan. She also managed and started farmers markets, both in New York and San Diego, as part of her mission to create sustainable communities. Ana's new business model incorporates more than personal training, so much more than personal training. And it's geared toward helping you transform not only how you look and feel, but also transform your body and mind. She strongly believes that balanced energy is the key to physical and spiritual wellness. Please welcome me or join me in welcoming Ana Nieto. Ana Nieto, welcome to the Radiant Achiever Show.
Oh, thank you so much for having me here, Chris. Lovely to see you as always.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm excited for our conversation today. One thing I did not tell everybody in the intro is that you were my trainer for a period of time. So I know firsthand who you are, what you do, and the transformation you help to facilitate. So I'm excited to give all the people listening and watching the backstory on who you are and how what calling it is you're following and how you've evolved through that calling. Yeah. So if you're ready, let's go ahead and just dive in.
I just want to say that it was quite a pleasure to train you, because after doing your competitions, I don't know if people know about this, but I was very
not everybody.
oh well, we will have to share that one. I just want to say that it was quite a wonderful training experience, training somebody that had worked on their body so much as you had. So and it's such
Thank you.
So yeah.
Thank you, Ana. I appreciate that. So, okay, I always start with that same $1 million question is, I would love for you to share what that calling is that you are pursuing. I say it's a calling. Some people call it a dream or a desire or a passion. So however you frame it, I'm open, but what is it and why is it important to you?
The calling. Wow. Well, I think this question for me is more relevant these days than it's ever been before. I think it's always been there, but I feel like in the last few years, my spirituality or my connection with the divine has been a lot stronger that perhaps it's been in the past, or I've been prioritizing it, for lack of a better word. And I have come to the conclusion that my calling is to help people become stronger in within their body and healthier in within their body, because I believe that gives you a stronger sense of your spiritual side and a stronger connection with your divinity. And I know this is a big thing to bring to the table, right? And just say it like that. But I really think that this is very true. At least in my experience, it's been the case. I think it was always there as I started, my career 20 years ago, because I always talk about balanced energy, and I was always trying to help people to connect with their body in a way that it was just more than health, right? It was about improving themselves in other ways. And I think now that is the calling. I mean, it is an interesting word to put it in a question, but I strongly believe that that's what I strive to help people do when they work with me. So it's more than just the physical, I look good, I want to lose weight. It's like, okay, what else? What is your actual why that you want to get to the world? And a lot of the clients that I work, most of them, the higher percentage, their spiritual life is very important to them as well. So we bring this to the table. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so I'm curious. And I love that, because I'm with you, and I feel they really do go hand in hand. And the more, it's like we're a vessel, right? We're a vessel for our higher self, our divine self, for our connection to source to work through us. And if we're all, out of alignment with dis-ease from one way or the other, we're shutting down that channel. So I love that you have evolved there. And I'm curious, I kind of sense that it was linked to your own personal evolution of spirituality. You already said that a little bit. I'd love for you to share. Was there something significant that happened, or was this like an inner inquiry that started occurring that then evolved to your calling expanding?
Yeah, that's a good, what you're making me think with that is that I remember when I first started working as a personal trainer. And it was right after my divorce, which, as we know, divorces are never a very nice event in our lives. So it kind of shifted us, right? And I remember at that time I started my first experience with meditation. That was almost 20 years ago now. And I think that it evolved from separating, if that makes sense a little bit. I was working already as a personal trainer, but that was my work, right? That was what I was doing,
right,
to make money. And then I was starting to explore those concepts of being present and the, philosophy of the India and the Rajas, the Tamas, the Sattva that you might be familiar with, right? And how to work and live in a way that is a lot more conscious. And since then, on and off, because I've been going through different curves in life, like most people, I've been healthier and less healthy, and healthier and less healthier, right? But it's always been figuring out a way that I could bring that into the table as a way to become part of the business. So, the way of the training that I do by itself is very conscious, as you know, because it's very slow. When you are doing it slower, it's forcing you to really get into your body and feel what is it that you are doing. And now to the point where, I just rebranded this year. And as you said before, the name of my company is Mindful Online Workouts, because I believe that mindfulness in what we do during exercise and the health that we bring to our body, we can translate that. I'm a firm believer that what you do with one thing, how you do one thing is how you do everything. So sometimes clients that are training with me and they start moving slowly through the workouts, they are like, I've noticed that now when I'm going to do things that are physical, I slow down a little more. I'm more conscious about that because of the training that you've brought to the table. And I think it's been my experience too. Like the more that I practice this, the more conscious I was of other things and how I can slow down and I can be more present with other things as well and applying that. And one more thing that I say that you said before about our body being a vessel, I feel like our bodies are temple. And the more that we keep that temple, healthy, the more that is going to actually help us with everything else that we want to create in our lives or our callings or our higher purposes that sometimes, it's hard to see when you are not in that optimal health that I think we all, most of us want to strive for. So I hope that answered your question, but that's kind of what the trajectory been, for me.
Yeah. Well, I love everything you said, and I so can see how that evolution, could occur, because everything we do ends up overlapping anyway, and like the whole ripple effect, exactly what you said. And also, I think even just the evolution that we're going through as a world, and really starting to, having been forced to slow down, and then learning new ways to reflect. And certainly you teach a very, like you said, a mindful, slower version of workout that's powerful. And when you're in that slower mode and you're present to the now, more so, you feel everything, right? You feel not just your emotions, you feel the muscle, you feel your tissue, you feel what's creaking and what's moving smooth. So it gets us back into our bodies in such a big way, which is, I believe, something that is so necessary. And I know for me, it's something I've worked on because I used to live here. And how many people check their workout off the box, right? And it's like, it's something I'm going to go do, and you hustle through it. And then you're like, well, wait, what did I even do? I had a girl actually at the gym that I know, not to digress too much, but she sat next to me and she said, I was here yesterday, and honestly, I can't even remember what body part I worked. She's like, this is really bad. And I'm like, you can't feel anything. And she's like, I think I did this. So I think that's a perfect example of what can happen when we're not fully present. And the fact that then you are really taking on that journey to help people reconnect with their bodies, their minds, and really see how all of that honors their temple body and opens them up to support for their higher purpose.
Yeah, and that's a good point you brought up with people at the conventional gym, right? Because I feel like when you go to a regular gym, that's sometimes what happens, that you see people looking at the TV, right, or looking at other people exercising, and they are getting outside of their body, as opposed to getting in their body when they are doing the workout, which is the process that we facilitate with our programs. It's like we really want people to get inside their bodies and feel what is it that they are doing. So I think most of our clients, most of the time, the day after, know what they worked, or they feel it a little bit, at least they remember something, because they were in that state of presence, that I think is
right. Absolutely. That's awesome. And I love, again, connecting how you and your personal journey, and I've seen this in my work too, has led both of us to that next evolution of the work that we're here to do in the world. And I think then that really anchors it in. And I see, because I've known you for a while now, and I see, and I just heard you speak, so I see and can feel this. It's like a deeper conviction to what's possible for people than when you were a great trainer before, but now I see you're definitely this, like a stronger entity of what's possible for people. So that's awesome to see.
Saying that, and on that note, I mean, I'll tell you, and I think as entrepreneurs and as people that have our own businesses, and when you're talking about finding your calling, your purpose, which I think is such a big word in itself, but a process that we go through life. And for me, as you well said, I feel like it's been the separation of, this is a job and I'm making money with it, and helping people. My passion since I was a very little girl was I wanted to help people, and that's what I feel like I do. And then there was this understanding, much deeper understanding of myself, and what really lights me up, and what really makes me happy, and what I really wanted to do with my life, and how I wanted to get up every morning and be happy to do what I do, and not really feel like it's a job. And of course you work long hours, and of course you get tired at the end of the day, but it's very different to get up and see, I'm going to go and make money and help some people along the way, or this is my purpose, I'm transforming people's lives, and I'm getting up at 6 in the morning, by 7 a.m. and in front of the computer with a group of people or one person, and I'm happy to be there. Like, I'm not a morning person, and I'm happy to get up and be there, because I love what I do. And again, I'm not perfect. You have better days and you have worse days. Right. You're very right that there's a different quality of how I feel about my work and about my purpose in this life right now than it was even 5-6 years ago. I'm not going that far.
Right. Right.
And it was
I love that.
Going deep within and a lot of work on myself first. Yeah, that was very important.
Okay, so I think that leads then into the perfect next question is, as you started to evolve, and I know you said you just rebranded, like what kinds of obstacles did you run into, internal obstacles, external obstacles in making that shift and that bigger evolution of what you're here to do?
Yeah, so I'm thinking of a couple of things that they just come to mind. One, it was my confronting my believing in my value. So I knew that people were telling me, oh, you're a great trainer, you have some healing powers, like as a trainer, you are really good with people, and your technique is great and your business is great. And I didn't really believe it. It was coming from the outside, but deep within, I didn't have that confidence in myself that I was that good, right? And again, I'm not. That I think I'm fairly good at what I do, and I've gotten a lot of great transformations and help people along the way. But I was not sitting on that. I was not sitting on that value. So I think that was number one and most important. And now I do. Now I believe that what I offer, the programs that we offer are awesome, and that people can benefit. And it's for the people that want it and that works for them, right? But I create something that is of value. And I believe in that value now, which I didn't before. And then the second thing was, in all honesty, on a personal note, confronting my own unhealthy habits, or even I call them addictions sometimes, that I didn't see they were affecting me so negatively. But in a way, when I think about it, it was almost like being a hypocrite, trying to help people to help me when I was not the healthiest self that I wanted to be. So it was a process of really cleaning all that up and getting out of habits, not just about food or drinking or whatever, we consider more superficial, but like really the deeper addictions of relationships or some of the things that were just blinding me. And I consider that I'm still is a work in progress. I'm always going to be growing and developing, but there was a lot of stuff that I had to clear along the way to really be able to help others to also get there. And I think it was by the example and by me experiencing that now I'm able to help other people to do the same thing. So it was a deep process. It was definitely a deep process.
Are powerful. Those are both so powerful. And I'm curious, was it because of your expanding consciousness that it started to come into your awareness that you had these misalignments, or was there something, I know there's a bunch of programs, that are powerful transformation programs. What if there was something that helped lead you to see this is something I need to face? Because I think a lot of times people they struggle with what is it exactly that is holding me back. And it sounds like you got clear on what was an issue for you.
I did. It was a lot of work. Well, I have to attribute a lot of the benefit to my coach, because I've been working, for 5 years now. And the whole team and herself have been like a wild change in my life, for the past 5 years specifically. But for me, it was just really establishing a very strong meditation practice. I was doing it, for 20 years on and off, and just kind of jumping around with different things. But right now is, as I was telling you before, my priority is my stronger connection with divine, my very a stronger connection within myself in that ground. And I strive to continue increasing that more and more, because the reason why I believe that my business has been flowing for the past few years is because when I have a question about my business, or when I'm looking for what am I going to talk about in my newsletter next week, I know I said at the presentation that I go for a walk and then I get the message.
Yes.
The message comes from somewhere else, right? It's not coming from me.
Yes.
I feel like my messages are not breathing really by myself. I'm breathing by something higher than myself. So it's that continuous talk and continuous, not just talk, but work on that connection, building the strength that I know is bigger than myself, and that I want to continue to connect it stronger and stronger. And that's what has been my anchor. And that's what has been my process of getting from, to be honest, perhaps even a mild depression lifestyle to being content, being joyful, being very happy right now, no matter what.
Oh, Ana, I love that.
Thank you.
I love that. That's amazing. So the meditation practice, it sounds like really key to again, opening you up to connect with your higher self, with source, and to then all of those practices putting you in a place where you can receive the divine guidance, I call it. And
I agree.
And it does become, and I love that you're sharing this. I want everybody to really not just hear what you're saying, but really to sit with it, because this is where we kind of connect in what I teach, is that things can be easier. Things can be easy. Things can flow. We don't have to work so hard for stuff to happen. We can be open and be guided. And we're never alone in this world. I don't believe it. And that might be a far thing for me to say, for some people to hear, but you so are in that place of alignment, it sounds like, with everything that's unfolding for you and how you feel.
And I know how it feels not to be there, because I've experienced and I know how it feels to be in a place of fear and to be in a place of thinking that just the negative, right? And I also think that it is a lot how we use our minds and how much we listen to this thing up here that actually
Yes.
helps us get out of that mindset. Like, I think it's just that, you can see the thoughts passing by and you can engage the ones that are going to take you in one direction or another. And I think that I've chosen to not pick the ones that are not taking me there, and pick the ones that are connecting you with something higher. And it's not easy, right? I mean, you totally,
not easy.
it's not, but
it's like building another muscle. It truly is like building another muscle, Ana.
It is another muscle. It is another muscle. I was just at a silent retreat this weekend, and again, it was to enhance, my connection. And I was comparing it like when I do cleanses with people. I facilitate, a couple of cleanses during the year. And I was thinking, when people do one cleanse, I think you've done it once, actually, maybe, perhaps you did at that point. You are changing your nutritional habits. You're making your life a little bit cleaner. You're making your life a little bit cleaner. So I think it's the same thing with meditation and silence, that you're making your mind a little bit cleaner and a little bit cleaner.
Love that.
So it's getting out of the way and you can receive those.
Right.
Much clearer.
I love that. I might have to talk to you about what you did. I've never done a silent retreat weekend, but it sounds so intriguing to me. Intriguing. So, okay. So I want to go into the next question, and you've already worked in and shared a lot of how you've shifted, but, if you look at both personally and professionally, what were some of the key things that you can looking now compared to maybe a couple years ago, how you've grown and evolved and how your business has grown and evolved?
Yeah. Well, a lot of things. There's a few things. Can I recommend a couple of books also?
Of course, always. I love that.
There are a couple of books that I love. I'm going to go look up here because that's when I have one of them. But one is called The Atomic Habits.
Okay.
About changing habits and how to do it in a way that is long lasting, right? So that was helpful to read. I believe that, and in the work also that I always do with clients, I apply it to my personal life. And I believe that making a big change, like all of a sudden, for most of us, is not going to work. It's too much, right, to handle. So we're going to come back to our past habits. What I believe it works is making changes consistently, even if they take a longer time, but that they stick, right? And that you can make those changes over your life of whatever you want to do. So I think that's been one of the biggest things that I imagine first and envision where I wanted my business to be, where I wanted my life to be. And then little by little, starting to make the shifts and the habit changes that needed to happen in order to get there, right? So I don't know, I'm thinking as an example. I know I needed to go more outdoors because I'm one of those people that just hides at home, right? And I can work all day.
Okay.
And I can be like for a whole week without leaving the house. And then by the end, it's like, oh my God, I'm being out once, right? So I just started the habit of every day I'm going for my walk. Every day I'm going to get my 20-minute walk. The beach is right here. I'm very blessed that I can just walk to and come back. And that was just a simple thing to do. But, I put it on my calendar and I did it. So just like that, your lunch breaks, your meditation times, right? It was a very sort of a schedule lifestyle. But I feel like if it's not in my schedule, it doesn't happen. So with the personal, same thing with the business. If there are things that are important for my business to move forward, I schedule them. If they are not in my calendar, I know there's a chance that they are not going to happen.
I love it.
So that was, I think, very important, becoming very structured. And this is something that my coach always says, but I love repeating that because I think it's such an important phrase. Structure gives me freedom. Because I think when you have a very structured life,
structure gives you
actually allows you freedom to do all the things
in
your life. I play tennis, I play golf, I dance, and I do all those things because I think the structure that I have with my life gives me the time also to do all those things that I enjoy. So I think that was very important for me. Become very structured, become very habit progressively change of those to that point. And then the other thing was prioritizing. So this is the other book that is called The One Thing. I don't know if you heard about it.
The One Thing, I've heard of it. Yes.
This is the creator of Keller Williams that brought this book. And it's about prioritizing. Like we make lists. I don't know if you do, but I do make lists.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
That I have to do. And then it's like, you have 100 things in your list and then like, okay, where do I ever start? So what he says, the process of like really being very specific of what is the priority and move that one forward, and then the next priority, and then the next priority, and then the next one. So you are not overwhelmed by a list of things, but you are actually doing things all the time. So I think those have been a couple of things that have been very important. And then I just want to add one last one, because I think that's been also very, very important, is follow the fun or the pleasure or the joy. So instead of like,
yes,
it is so funny because I'm one of those people that can be a martyr. I can be a martyr in this world, right? And say, okay, I don't like doing this, but I have to do it. I don't like doing this, but I have to. And then lately it's been like, I don't have to do this. I can delegate it. I don't like it. I can delegate it. And there are some things that I still do that I don't particularly love, but I've been trying to get off my plate most of the things that I don't like and just keep the things that I really enjoy it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's been
I'm such a firm believer in that as a transformational tool, right? When we're looking to even open ourselves up to find our passions, our callings, is just starting to connect with and honor yourself to do those things that bring you joy, to have fun, to bring different types of pleasure. Dancing, we share that same love, and just how it energizes us. So I'm at my mom's house right now, and I told her I'm doing 2 Zumba songs this morning before we get our day going, because it charges me up. So I'd love if you found this too. When I do those things first, that bring me joy and pleasure, whether it's the beach walk or the exercise or the meditation or the dancing or whatever it is for somebody, then those other things that I haven't yet been able to delegate, I can do them with a little more joy and willingness than if I was just sitting there trying to muscle my way through everything.
Agree. I mean, 100% with you. I think we have to prioritize those things, right? That give us joy, because sometimes it's like, no, I'll do it when I get this done. And then you're so frustrated and so upset and so angry by the time you're done. That's like you don't enjoy that, then you don't want to do anything else, right? So have the joy first, be in the good mindset, and then, go and do the other things that are a little bit harder, and they will be easier. I believe that's been my experience. And you're making me think of one more thing that I'd like to share, if that's okay. I think, the last couple of years, obviously, I'm not going to start talking about them, but they've been very hard for a lot of people. And I think the reason why I've been able to help a lot of people in the last couple of years is because my lifestyle, because I was working online already, right, for 8 years before. So I have created a routine and a lifestyle that when we even needed to be locked at home, I was able to do it with no problem, because I was already there. Like I was already having a way of living that it was organized in a way that you could be at home and still feel the joy and still feel that you were living a lifestyle that it was full. So it was not a big struggle for me to go through the transition, except for the obvious reasons that it was for everybody, because I already was from home, and I was able to teach others how to do that in a way that was productive for them during that time.
Right. I love that. Because it was, a lot of people started spinning out like, my life is shut down, but you showed them how you can keep yourself active and be in joy and do things you're shifting where you're doing it, and that you can bring that energy still into a virtual virtual workout.
And the reason why you make me think about that is because I used to start my classes early in the morning. So it's like the first thing that I do in the morning, like at 7:15, and a lot of people were complaining about, okay, I'm home, and a lot of you work from home also, right? And it's harder enough to go to the kitchen and grab snacks all the time. So I also have a system for that too, and how to get out of the house if you work. So it's been interesting in that way of how the habits that I have created really work to create programs and processes that, can be working for anybody that is working from home now,
Right. I love it. Talk about just one of those divine things where 8 years ago, for whatever reason, you started to do it online, and how I'm sure part of that was just following your own intuition, following your own inner compass of, oh, this sounds great, I want to do this because it's a need, and how it really fit even a bigger need over time. So kudos to you.
Thank you. Yeah, it was an
You're
interest
welcome.
for sure.
Yeah. So what is so part of what I teach, Anna, is like inner powers, right? Like we have our inner listening, we have our mindset, and there's 7 powers that I teach. And there's a lot of powers everybody can access and name it in the way they speak, that speaks to them. So I'm curious for you, if you were to kind of think about that inner journey you've been on, what is one of your inner powers that you've engaged as part of this evolution of the work that you're doing?
My inner power. There's 2 things that come to mind, if that's okay. Can I have 2?
Of course it is.
One. Thank you. I think one of them is persistence, meaning that when I really, really want something, I go and get it. And I mean it in a way of really wanting something that is for you, right? Not pushing through, but allowing it to happen. And I think that's been a motto in my life. I remember when I was living in New York City selling Yellow Pages advertising, right before I became a personal trainer. And I was new in New York City. I had just moved there from Spain. And I wanted to have this Spanish restaurant advertising in the Yellow Pages because I really liked it. So I called the owner so many times that at the end he told me that the reason why I'm advertising with you is because you're persistence. And I was like, oh. And he did. And then we became friends. He became my client after years. And, the whole story, blah, blah, blah.
Love it.
But I think it's important that when you know that something is for you and that is such a deep want, right? That you can actually try and try again and not give up until you actually get there. I think that's very important. And in line with that, I have a friend told me once that I always sort of gotten what my vision was for my next step in life. So I think it's maybe that envision it, but then being actually able to get there, right? Like moving from New York to California, doing the online training. This was a thought that started when I was spending summers in the Hamptons when I lived in New York City. And I wanted to spend the whole summer in the Hamptons, but all my clients were in the city in person. And my partner at the time was like, what about a Skype training? And I was like, you're crazy. That's never going to work. But then I started doing that, and now my business is 100% online. So I think it's like that vision of something.
The visioning, I love that.
And the persistence, right? Connecting one with the other, of really getting to it. I think it's really been
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
What a great combo. And when you say persistence, I speak to the word commitment, but it's not, I'm committed to get this done today. It's commitment to you. And I love how you framed it in that it's really commitment to something that is so meaningful to you. So I think that's one of those great nuggets for people to really listen into, to just keep going. Because if it's strong, it's meant for you. It's just, you get to learn and grow and along the way, and you evolve from that, right? So
absolutely
beautiful.
Absolutely.
Okay, 2 more questions. My next one, because this is the Radiant Achiever show, I would love to hear, what does being a Radiant Achiever mean to you, Ana?
Radiant Achiever. Well, I think we've touched on it a little bit, because I think for me, the Radiant Achiever is the person that it is following the intuition. It is going with the flow as opposed to pushing. And I'll tell you, I've definitely done that in the past. When I started with my business years ago, I was more on the masculine, if I can say, of the pushing, doing,
sure,
and hard, and and everything was so hard, as I said before. And then I think that the more I got into the feminine side of allowing, receiving, going with the flow, following my intuition, what is my next step, and receiving those signs, it's been when I've been living more radiantly and more joyfully. So I think it's that. I think it's really the intuition. I think it's following the joy, as we were talking about before. For me, that's the key to living a radiant.
I love it. I love it. And you were so glowing that day that you were speaking. You're glowing every time I see you, but so glowing. And so I do want to link back to something you said earlier, because as you were speaking now, it reminded me, I love that you really have strong habits in both places, the inner with your meditation and your consciousness and your mindfulness. And then you've created these great habits, and how you talked about your focus on structure. And I love that it's this beautiful balance of both the inner and the outer. And I see how that's really helped you to evolve in a big way with your happiness and the success in your business.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's definitely be the key, is to combine those two. And I will tell you a little secret. I still keep a little bit open on the schedule for spontaneity, because I need it.
Love that. I think that's a great tip.
You just
That's a great tip.
Hours here and there, like whatever happens, be open.
Yes. That's great, because this or something better, right, can happen.
Exactly.
Awesome.
Exactly.
Okay, so my last question is, and at the end, I'll ask you to share your contact information, because I know you have a lot of great things people can learn just from connecting with you. Is some of our viewers, some of our listeners are on the fence, Ana. They haven't stepped into their calling, or maybe they've started that journey, but they're going slow and they're fumbling a lot. What would be some Ana wisdom you could give them to help them in their journey and really step into what it is that's authentically calling to them?
Yeah. I always say that guilt is one of the worst things that we can feel. Like, sometimes when you really want it so badly, like, but what is it that you want me to do, right? What am I here for?
Yes.
That you start, and you get so much in your head about it. And then you start with those guilty trips of like, why am I not ready there? I'm almost 50 years old, I'm almost 30 years old for some people, right? And I think when we get in that roller coaster of feeling guilty about not being where we think we need to be, or the value point that I was talking about at the beginning, or not feeling that you are valuable, that you are already valuable where you are, or not even be grateful and for the accomplishments that you've done. Like, I think in order for you to actually get to the next level, you have to be very grateful for the one that you are already at, right? So I think all those things are important to look at. Are you being grateful with where you are? Are you satisfied to a certain point to get to the next one? Are you giving yourself guilty trips because you are not there yet? I think those things are very important, and just relax into it. Allow, as you were saying before, I believe in divine timing is one of the most important things that I think exist. And if we try to push it, or if we try to make it at a time that is not the appropriate for us, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. Okay? So just
great
patience.
advice.
Definitely patience.
Yeah.
Not a very patient person, but I've learned to be, because I believe that is a good quality to have, for sure.
Right. We always have the opportunity to learn whatever we need for our journey. It's just, are we open to learning that? So love that advice. A lot of great nuggets there for people to again, sit and reflect. This isn't about just jumping into a whole bunch of emotion, like really do that inner self-reflection. I know that's been powerful for you. It's been powerful for me. And anybody here, there is something you can do to move yourself forward. So
and just one last thought, if that's okay, as you're talking.
Sure.
Don't hide it either. Like, I think for a lot of us, what we do is that we're feeling something that we know is not sitting with us, right? The energy you can sense is shaking.
Okay.
And then sometimes you can numb it with, the extra glass of wine, or you can numb it with like going out, and having like whatever, a party. So instead of that, sometimes when you're feeling that shake, I think it's good to just sit with it and like try to process what is it, because sometimes it has to get worse before it gets better, right?
Yeah.
What is it for you? Going through that darkness before you get into the light, I think is important also to do. And I used to practice that when I'm feeling in a place that is like, there's something here, I'm not liking how I'm feeling. Sit with it as opposed to hide it.
Right. I love that. Thank you. Yep. Because the faster you face it, then you can clear it before it builds up a whole bunch of momentum, and then it becomes this big thing to have to face and deal with.
And not untangle it, because it's so tangled.
Right.
Then
it's a project for a while. So awesome. Well, Ana, this has been amazing. Before we wrap up, So many great nuggets here. I look forward to doing the recap of the notes and having everybody really get these beautiful lessons you've learned, the example that you are in how you live your life, and just again that radiant light that you are. So thank you. But before we end, I would love for you to share how people can connect with you, whether that's your website or social media. And I think you might even have a free gift for everybody.
Yes, because we're getting close to the holidays, right? So we're doing a little.
Yes.
So to get some more information about what I do, you can go to mindfulonlinegym.com, and there you see all information about our programs. There are classes. We have, all kinds of classes from strength training to yoga, Pilates, Qigong during the week. I want to gift everybody that is listening here a free class. Our next one is on Wednesday, December 22nd at 9 a.m. Pacific. So anybody that would like to join, you are able to attend this free class. And if you are not the class kind of person, I also offer free Get in Shape complimentary sessions. You can also schedule that on my website. And during that session, we can figure out at least what is the main struggle that you're dealing with. I can give you a tip to move forward, and then we can decide if we're a good fit to work together or not. So there are different opportunities. I would love to connect with your tribe here, and it's been a true pleasure to be with you. And thank you for doing this. You're definitely a wonderful, radiant achiever, and I'm glad that you're bringing this to the table with some of us as well. So thank you so much.
Oh, you're so welcome, Ana. So welcome. It was great reconnecting with you recently, and again, hearing more of your story, your journey. And I know I learned some new things of how you've really evolved to where you're at today. So thank you for your openness and vulnerability. I know it was meaningful to me, and it will make an impact on the audience too. So I will, yes, thank you. So bye for now. And everybody watching and listening, thank you for being part of another episode of the Radiant Achiever Show. And I look forward to connecting and supporting you again real soon. Bye for now.